journey in 2021, the Triple Crown plus the Arizona Trail. Do you have any particular situations or times where you were in like a maybe a really adverse or sticky situation?
Ooh, yeah, there were definitely a few. Uh, I'll probably go with the time I was most scared in my entire life was in Wyoming. So it was in the Wind River Range, which is also one of the most beautiful places I've ever seen. But I was doing an alternate there called Knapsack Col to go up to a high mountain pass and then down to a beautiful area with a couple of lakes. And it's a beautiful alternate. I would recommend, but I just wouldn't recommend doing what I did. So I got to the top, and then I see some comments on Guthook saying to cut across the basin, it'll save a mile or two. So I misinterpret what they mean. They mean just like use your common sense and go down and then cut across the pretty flat part. But I figured that was way too easy. That can't be what they mean. Everybody would do that automatically. So I start following the ridge a little bit up to the right, and then there's kind of a big rock sticking out the side of the mountain. But I figure once I get over that, I'll see where I'm supposed to go. So to get to that spot, I had to go across like two 70-degree avalanche chutes. So I'm like crawling across those like all fours vertically, sliding down like 3 feet every time I move a hand or foot, and just like panicking with every single second. So I get across both those, and I get up to this big like rock that I can now see over, and I realize this was definitely the wrong way. On the other side of the rock is just two more avalanche chutes and then a vertical wall of ice. So I go across the next two avalanche chutes, and then I'm trying to figure out how to get down from there because it was already too late to go back, anyways. So, long story short, I ended up hanging from a pretty big rock sticking out the side of the mountain to try to like swing my feet over to a pile of rocks so I could actually get some grip because all the dirt was just loose and you couldn't put a foot anywhere without just like falling down the side of the mountain. So I was trying to get to this other pile of rocks to navigate my way down, but then as I was hanging, I started like trying to kick my legs out, and I realized they're not going to be able to reach that pile of rocks. So now I'm just I'm hanging from this rock with a 600-foot vertical drop straight below me, and just wondering like how I got here in my life. And that moment was the most scared I've been in my entire life. But there was nobody else around, so there's no point in yelling or anything like that. So I just like maneuvered myself back up on top of the rock, uh, using what little upper body strength I had left, and then I'm sitting on top of it, but I realize there's still nowhere to go. So I just start like trying to reach out to this pile of rocks that's still too far away to get. So I just like lay down vertically, like kind of like I'm standing up, but it's like a 80-degree angle. So I just start sliding down the mountain. I slide probably down like 12, 15 feet, and then I finally like lurch out and grab onto a rock to pull myself up on this like the other side of this like little avalanche chute. But then once I get there, I realize there's still nowhere to go. So then to my right, there's just a vertical wall of ice. So there's nothing to do there. So then I just close my eyes and say, this is the time to do it. So then I start sliding down my butt on like this just like 70, 80-degree angle down the mountain, and probably slide down like 400, 450 feet. And it just like cause a massive rock slide. There's like, as I'm sliding down the mountain, there's big rocks like sliding to the right and left along with me because of all the momentum I'm making going down the mountain. And like as I'm going down, I'm cutting up my hands. I'm trying to like slow myself down. My butt's getting cut up. There's like tears in my shorts now. And like once I finally stop, my hands are bleeding, my butt's bleeding, and I just like my adrenaline's pumping so fast. I'm trying to like process what just happened. And that was that was so terrifying. So that was like the most scared I've ever been in my entire life. And eventually I had to do a couple more dumb things on the way down, but I made it to the bottom of the basin and was just so relieved the rest of the day because I probably just survived the most dangerous thing I'd done in my entire life.
It sounds to me like that's the most dangerous thing that very few people have done in their life. Wow. You were out
Yeah,
there
I would not
alone.
recommend.
And yeah, yeah, you're hanging there. You're going to yell, help. Who's going to hear you?
Exactly. And if they were around, what would they do?
Well, yeah, yeah. Just hang on a second. I'll go get a helicopter or
Yeah.
rescue unit. I think I'm in here. You got a couple of days? Wow, that's an incredible story, Brandon. I mean, this probably felt like it was taking forever while it was going on. But do you have any time frame that all of this transpired? Because a lot happened.
Roughly, yeah. So I think from when I started taking the wrong route to when I got down to the bottom, it was roughly 2.5 hours, and I had moved zero point 0.3 miles.
By the time you regained your composure, because I can imagine when your body stopped moving and you realized you're on safe ground again, there had to be a period where you were just kind of sitting there trying to get your head on straight, trying to get yourself back together. What was what were you thinking when you reached that point where you finally regained your composure and were able to look at things clearly?
Oh, all I could think was like, I am like, you're such an idiot for going the wrong way, and then ending up here, and like you're so stupid, and you just get completely lucky that you got out of that alive. That's all I could think.
And your mom was your big support back home. I hope you waited until you got home to share that story
Oh,
with your mother.
I didn't tell her about that till a few days ago.
Well, that's smart that you let her know before you came on the podcast because you're
Yep,
probably
yep.
going to want her to hear. How about animal encounters?
Yeah, quite a few. So I'd say I saw probably every animal I wanted to for the year, and a couple extras. So I saw probably 7 or 8 black bears, which I had seen before. I mean, they're cool to see, but it wasn't anything too crazy. And then I saw one grizzly bear in Montana, but it was like 100 yards away, and I just started yelling as soon as I saw it, and it ran away. That wasn't nothing too close. And then probably one of my favorite things was probably I saw a wolf in New Mexico. That was cool. It was surprised it was only one of them, not in a pack or anything. And then probably a total of 9 or 10 moose, mostly in Wyoming, a couple in Colorado, and then I think one in Maine. And then I saw one mountain lion in Arizona, and it was after dark, so it was not a fun experience.
Yeah, because it sounds like these other animal encounters were all at a safe distance. But I would
Yeah,
think if you can see a mountain lion, it might not exactly be at a safe distance or under the best circumstances.
yeah, definitely not. It was after dark, so I had my headlamp on, and then I see this pair of eyes about 30, probably 30 yards away, all to my left, and it's also in a canyon, so there's not a very wide range to go. So I see its eyes, then I start to see the long, slender body, and then I realize it's a mountain lion. And I'm like, oh, this is interesting. Let's see how this goes. So we stared at each other for probably about 4 or 5 seconds before, in a split second, it was gone. He was so fast. And then for about probably every 30 seconds for the next 3 hours, I was checking behind me to make sure I wasn't being followed.
And that's what starts to go through your head, right? Because they are so fast or elusive. And 'cause I've heard this from other hikers that have been out west, is it gets into your head that is it stalking me? Is it following me?
Yeah, it's all you can think about. And every little wind pushing a piece of grass, every twig cracking, that's all you think about.